Welcome to Youth Service Bureau's Partner in Parenting podcast. My name is Mary Gugesberg, and I'm the Youth and Family Education Coordinator and your host for this podcast. Today I have a guest with me. Nikki is here. She will introduce herself in a moment. The mission of Youth Service Bureau is helping youth and families learn the skills they need to be more successful at home, in school, and throughout their community. Currently, we are taking a really deep look at some of the services that we offer and starting with alcohol. Parents are wondering, how do I help help guide my child to make healthy choices? So Nikki, please introduce yourself, tell us why this topic is important to you, and then let's dive in. Let's take a deeper look at substances, and we'll start with the alcohol.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary. So I am Nikki Bussert. I am a chemical health specialist in two school districts, 834, which is Stillwater, and 622, which is North St. Paul, Maplewood, Oakdale. I am at 4 middle schools, Stillwater Middle School and Oakland Middle School in Stillwater, and John Glenn and Maplewood in 622. One of the reasons that I really wanted to talk about alcohol is that is one of the most commonly used substances amongst middle schoolers and high schoolers. It's easy to get. A lot of parents have, an alcohol cabinet or a bottle of wine sitting on the table, and it's just easy for the kids to get. And social media nowadays and advertising, alcohol is everywhere. When I talk to a lot of my middle schoolers in health classes, we talk about, if they go on YouTube and they see commercials, a lot of them are for alcohol. So I think that this is a huge topic that a lot of parents need to really understand and know about how to prevent and help, get the kids to not do it and understand it.
Yes, thanks, Nikki. We do a chemical awareness program, so students that are referred to us, and I think this will help that education, because I, as a parent, I need to be educated to help me in guiding my child to make healthy choices.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and I'll ask some questions as we're going.
Awesome. So this just talks about Youth Service Bureau a little bit more about where we are and kind of what we do. So we're going to dive right on in to why do adolescents try alcohol? So I kind of talked a little bit about right away that it's just really easily accessible to students. Some of the other reasons is to be accepted by peers or to fit in. Increased popularity, again, that's peer pressure and going to parties and making it look cool if you have a beer in your hand. Make people feel more independent, feel more confident. A lot of kids don't know who they really are when they're adolescents. So when they start using substances, particular alcohol, it makes them a little bit more confident and wanting to go and have conversations with people that they might not usually have conversations with. Helps deal with stress and feel for the excitement. They've grown up seeing maybe their parents or their family members using it, and they look like they're having a great time. Mm-hmm. So why not give it a try? A couple things that, alcohol does. At lower doses, alcohol can act as a stimulant, inducing feelings of euphoria and talkativeness. So that kind of goes back to the excitement of it. I just want to kind of hang out. I want to chill with my friends around a bonfire. And I just want to feel good. And that's what a lot of adolescents think that alcohol does.
I think a lot of adults, we role model that too.
Absolutely.
And we have to remember that as well for parents.
Absolutely. And especially during this pandemic and stay-at-home moms or parents are working from home, a lot of them, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. And they want to go and have their glass of wine or their drink because they had a stressful day. That is modeling to the students that this is a reliever. So they want to do the same thing. And then alcohol is also classed as a sedative hypnotic drug, which means it acts as to depress the central nervous system at high doses. So you can see in this picture, once you have a certain amount of alcohol in your system, when your body can't keep up to it anymore, it depresses your nervous system, which you start kind of feeling a little wiggly, a little floaty. Sometimes you can't walk in a straight line, or your eyes start moving crazy. This is what the alcohol does. It is a poison that we're putting into our body at high doses. It can really affect your body. So this is the Minnesota Student Survey. Every 2 years, the Minnesota students, 8th grade, 9th grade, and 11th graders take an anonymous survey. They talk about substances, they talk about mental health, they talk about exercise and other health. But this is from the 2019. This one is specific to Stillwater District. You can see in the past 30 days how many 8th, 9th, and 11th graders have experimented with alcohol. So this could be I've used it one time, or this could be I've used it every day in the last 30 days.
Thank you. Nikki, where could we find, if I'm not in the district that you're referencing, can you tell me, and maybe we can add it at the end of the podcast, where we can get the details for if I'm in a different part of Minnesota?
Yep. So on the Minnesota Department of Education, you can go on their website, and they have all of the outcomes of the survey, whether you're looking for substances or you're looking for health or mental health. And they do it in clusters. You can do it in your specific district. You can do it in your specific county, and also statewide.
Okay. Thank you. Really helpful.
Yeah. So you can see here, 8th grade, 9th grade, and 11th grade. 11th grade, 22% have at least tried alcohol at least one time in the last 30 days. That's a pretty significant number when you really think about 22% of District 833 has tried it. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of see that this is what 2019 looked like. Mm-hmm. This is kind of just a little cheat sheet of what is actually considered an amount for a drink. We'll get into talk about binge drinking a little bit more. So the average percent of alcohol in beer is about 4 to 5%. 8 ounces of an actual like liquor, which could be, tequila, vodka, rum, anything like that, about 7%. 5 ounces of wine is about 12%, and then a shot is usually about an ounce and a half, and that can be anywhere from 40% all the way up to almost 100% proof. Yeah, so when we start talking about binge drinking and we talk about drinks per hour, this is what we're talking about. So binge drinking. So middle school and high school and college specifically, this is what they do, and I don't know a high schooler or a college kid that drinks for the taste or just drinks because they want to drink. They're drinking to get drunk, and that is their main goal. So this says consuming 4 or more drinks for women or 5 or more drinks for men within the course of 2 hours. So again, going back to this previous slide, it talks about what a drink is. So 5 ounces of wine could be a drink. So as a female, if I have 4 glasses of wine, which is about 5 ounces within 2 hours, that is considered binge drinking. Yeah, it's significant. Mm-hmm. This type of drinking generally leads to a blood alcohol concentration, or a BAC, past the legal limit, which is 0.08. And when we talk about BAC and the legal limit, that is for driving or operating a motor vehicle, including a boat also.
Sure. Yeah. Good to think about. We're going into summer. So
Exactly. So 0.08 is the legal limit to operate any type of motor vehicle. And if you drink, as a female, if I drink 4 glasses of wine within 2 hours, I will be potentially over that 0.08.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of something to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Binge drinking is, like I said, huge amongst, high school and college.
Yes.
And they talk about power hours. So a power hour is having a shot or a drink of some sort, a sip, whatever, every minute of an hour. Yeah. So this is huge among college. This is like a big pregame before we're going out. This is highly dangerous because you are putting so much alcohol into your system so fast, your body doesn't have time to digest it. So we actually, my fiance and I kind of did the math of what a power hour would be. And that's about 5 to 6 beers. Like if you're just taking, a quick drink of it or a little shot of it, it's about 5 to 6 beers in an hour.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So, and then we're going to get into, talking about different alcohol contents. If you're having, a craft beer, that could be higher. That could be 7 to 8% alcohol.
Yes.
Versus, having just a light beer, which is 4 to 5. So you could potentially put in very lethal amounts of alcohol into your system very fast.
Thank you for that info and that example, because
Yeah,
that is eye-opening. And remember, the reason we're doing this is to help all be educated and make healthy decisions.
absolutely. So again, binge drinking, and when we talk about that, is all that alcohol going into your system too fast and your body can't keep up with it. So sometimes what can happen can lead to drowsiness, respiratory depression, where breathing becomes slowed, shallow, or can stop entirely. So when we talked about at first that alcohol can be a depressant on the nervous system, that's where the breathing comes in, where it can depress your breathing. And sometimes it can lead to coma or even death when you stop breathing.
Yeah, scary.
Yeah. And again, you can see this picture. This is a beer bong. This is, again, what a lot of high school and college kids do. This is just to get the alcohol in faster so I can get drunk faster. So we're going to kind of talk about alcohol poisoning. A lot of students don't know, or a lot of parents or a lot of kids don't know that you can actually get alcohol poisoning. Again, this is too much alcohol in your system, too high of a blood alcohol level in your system for your body to keep up. An estimated 88,000 people die annually from alcohol-related causes. And this isn't necessarily drunk driving or anything like that. This is having too much alcohol in your system, alcohol poisoning specific. And about 22,190 of these deaths are due to alcohol poisoning. So that's a very significant number when you think about it for a year, for one specific substance, alcohol.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for that info. Yikes. Good
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of talking about blood alcohol level again, keep in mind that 0.08 is our legal limit in Minnesota. And I want to say it's across the board. I think it's all the United States is 0.08, is to operate a motor vehicle, including boats. So if you look at this chart here and you go to 0.08, which is the third one down from the top, is when you start kind of getting into it. Loss of coordination, slurred speech, and impaired memory. So at that point, that is what's starting to happen. And we're still okay by law to drive, which is terrifying. Yeah. And then you can kind of start seeing, once it starts going up a little bit more, blurred vision, dysphoria, where you just kind of lose it. You don't know where you are. It's not really feeling good anymore. You're confused. And then can barely walk, 0.20, barely walk, vomiting, possibly blacking out. Blacking out is when You're still awake, you're still alert, you're still kind of functioning, but your memory is gone. You do not remember anything that happened beyond that point, but you are still up and functioning.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And then 0.25 to 0.39 is alcohol poisoning. That is significantly high. If you go into an emergency room or call 911, they're going to give you a breathalyzer and they will see what your level is. And if they need to, if you do get alcohol poisoning, there are two different things that the emergency is going to do, emergency department. One is if you are awake and alert and able to still somewhat function, they're going to give you a charcoal drink, which makes you drink it, and they want you to vomit. They want you to get the alcohol out. If you are unconscious, if you are not able to drink that drink, they're actually going to pump your stomach. They want to get that alcohol that's in your stomach right now or in your system out as soon as possible, because your body is already overloaded and they don't want any more in your system. So it can be a traumatic thing that happens if you get to this point.
Yeah, scary.
Yeah. A couple signs of alcohol poisoning: mental confusion, kind of like we talked about the dysphoria. You just kind of don't really know what's going on. Stupor is when you become unresponsive. You're conscious, but you're unresponsive. So that's passing out. You're breathing still. You're definitely blacked out. You will not remember any of this, but you're still there. Alcoholic coma. It's someone that kind of slips into a coma from the amount of alcohol in their system. Vomiting, which is a good thing. If anybody starts drinking too much and they start throwing up, that's good. You want to get that out. When you don't vomit is when the alcohol poisoning can actually happen. Seizures. When someone is having seizures, they experience involuntary muscle spasms. So that amount of alcohol, again, poison that you're putting into your body, can make you go into a seizure. Yikes. And then continuing, slow or irregular breathing. Again, going back to it being a depressant, or it can depress the nervous system. High amounts of alcohol can make you slow your breathing down. And we know what happens when you don't breathe. You can die.
Yeah.
And this is the biggest one that I think a lot of people are shocked by, is hypothermia. So a lot of us from Minnesota, especially if we're out snowmobiling or we're out skiing or we're outside during the winter, we think, oh, let's have some alcohol because that warms us up. Yeah. It does the complete opposite, actually. Alcohol also restricts the body to shiver. So the first signs of hypothermia, you won't shiver. So you won't even know that you're starting to get into the first stages of hypothermia. It lowers your core body temperature, and it also opens up your arteries and your veins, and brings the blood to the top of your skin. Okay. So that makes you colder faster.
Sure.
Wow. And then rash. A lot of people, they think that they might be allergic to alcohol. They can have flushing. Their cheeks start getting a little red. That's again because the blood vessels in the body become larger than normal.
Sure.
Yeah. And that also goes back to the hypothermia.
Thank you. Nikki, are these, like, you have them numbered 1 through 8? Are these in order? Or
they're not in order. No. These are just some signs. It's not like you have to have all of 8 of them and then it's alcohol poisoning. Okay. It could be slow irregular breathing and that's it. And they could have alcohol poisoning. Okay. These are just a vague, big, broad list.
Thank you. Perfect. Yeah.
And then the Good Samaritan Law. So this one specifically on this slide talks about naloxone and opiate overdose. However, alcohol poisoning or any other substance in general is also included in this.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are at a party or you are at a family function or you are somewhere where there are substances, alcohol included, if somebody needs 911 help, you need to call 911 as soon as possible. When 911 arrives, the cops arrive, you are under 21 or you have any illegal substance on you, you are protected from getting into any legal trouble because you potentially just saved somebody's life.
Yes.
I know a lot of kids and adults too are terrified to call the cops or 911 when somebody needs help because they don't want to get in trouble.
Right.
You're not going to get in trouble. You are protected under this Good Samaritan or Steve's Law.
Perfect. And it's better to call, right, than lose a friend or...
Please, absolutely. And the reason in Minnesota we call it the Steve's Law, because that started with the opiate epidemic, and Steve Rumler actually passed away from an overdose of heroin, and he was with people that could have called 911, but they were terrified that they were going to get in trouble because they had heroin there or other paraphernalia. Yeah. So Steve Rumler could have lived if someone would have called 911. So that is why we call it Steve's Law. But in general, it is the Good Samaritan Law too.
Thank you. Yeah, good info.
And then the social host ordinance, I kind of tell the students this one specifically right up front. If you have a party at your house, and even if your parents are not there, your parents don't know, they are out of town, and you have a party, you have alcohol, you're underage, you are under 21, and you have a party and there's alcohol there, your parents will be in trouble. Your parents will have the consequences. Even if you say they didn't know, they were out of town, they will have consequences, and they will have legal consequences. It could be a fine up to $5,000. They could do a night or two in jail. And then also the courts. They would have to go to court. So I just want all the students and parents to know that this is real. Like, if the cops come to the house and the parents aren't there even, or let's say the parents are there, the parents are going to get in trouble. Whoever is there that is 21 or older is going to have consequences.
And this is this slide talks about another city, but this is state of Minnesota focused, right? It's
absolutely
not okay.
Yep. Yeah. This is the whole state of Minnesota. Yeah,
thank you. Good to know. And even if I'm my partner and I are traveling for our vacation and our older kids are home, I'm still responsible.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Another good conversation to have with our older children, right?
Yes. And then drunk driving stats. So these are some of the stats from Minnesota in 2018. Drunk driving is actually one of the top 3 most common causes of death in the United States. Crashes, there was over 4,000 crashes, 123 deaths, 2,156 injuries. So 103 people died in 2018 just from drunk driving incident. And 2,100 injuries and 4,000 crashes because of drunk driving. And then as taxpayers, it costed Minnesota over $2 million for drunk driving.
For something that we're going to educate and hopefully prevent some of this.
Absolutely. Nope, you're fine. And we need to go back to talking about the blood alcohol level and the drinks and how many in an hour or binge drinking that you can have. So again, as a female, if I have 4 glasses of wine, four glasses of wine with about 5 ounces in 2 hours, I will be over this legal limit.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be considered drunk driving. So some of the ways to help prevent teen drinking, overall, support your teen. Having a trusting relationship can help prevent experimenting with alcohol. Spending time together can make it easier for your teen to talk. So we talk a lot about the family dinners. I'm a huge advocate for family dinners. That's just an easy place to talk to your kids about what's going on, how was your day, who are you going out with tonight, and having that trust in relationship. Know your teen's activities. Pay attention to the teen's plans and whereabouts. I know that they're not going to like it. They're not going to like hearing where you're going, who you with, call me when you get there, check in, but you have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to be easier if you have that trusting relationship in the first place. Encourage participation in supervised after school and weekend activities.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm, again, a huge advocate for extracurricular activities.
Mm-hmm.
There are statistics out there and research that says the more extracurricular activities, sports, clubs, theater, anything like that, has a lower risk of experimenting with drugs and alcohol.
Exactly. When I do, I like to remind parents a couple of things, if I can enhance too, is know who your kids are hanging out with. When our kids were in elementary or youngers, we wouldn't just take them to someone's house and say, hey, go play, I'll pick you up in a couple hours.
Right.
We knew the family. So there is no different as our kids get older. Know who your kids have their numbers so you can check in.
Yes.
Not that you don't want to that you're challenging the trust, but you're just checking. I want to, and all parents crave that communication.
Yes.
Another thing I call out is who's in your village. Who are 5 caring adults that that's your job, is to make sure you have 5 caring adults that are helping your child become a healthy adult themselves. And it could be an aunt, it could be a grandparent, it could be even older children who are making healthy choices, a coach, a youth leader from whatever extracurricular, whether it's a faith community or an Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, just those healthy role models. Another way, if I can just add one more thing, is goals.
Yes.
Talking with your child about what are your goals? What do you need of me to help you attain those goals? I love you call out the meals. With the Minnesota shelter in place, I have been fortunate to have lunch every single day. I have a college age and a high school senior, and we get to have lunch every day together.
Yep.
And how great, because we're all 4 of us are in the house working from home or school from home.
Yep.
And I say lunch because both of my kids are essential workers and they are gone in the evenings. So it's been.
And having those open conversations, even getting on the mental health side of that,
Yes.
of how are you holding up? The college age, you haven't been at home for a while. How is it living back at home? So having these open conversations is what builds trust and great relationships.
Exactly. And we'll add at the end, in the resource of this, some guides to having conversations, setting that stage for having conversations, finding ways to give accolades, catch your kids doing right. Having positive affirmations goes so much further than reprimanding. We want to catch our kids doing well.
Yes. And I know when I've talked with some of my students that are experimenting with drugs and alcohol, even as 8th graders, we talk about goals. Once you get into high school, what do you want to do? What kind of classes do you want to take? When you get to college, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And then we talk about, okay, let's put alcohol in there. Are you going to still achieve those goals? So kind of doing the with alcohol and without, or with substances and without, and are you still going to be able to achieve those goals that you want to?
Perfect.
Establish rules and consequences. Rules might include leaving parties where alcohol is served and not riding in a car with a driver who's been drinking. Agree on consequences of breaking the rules ahead of time and enforce them.
Yeah, and be
So
consistent. I would say
exactly.
consistent.
There's also, it's called the X plan, where there is a rule that you have with your child, that this was already established prior to going to this party. Say I'm going to this party and there is alcohol being served and I am very uncomfortable. My friends are pushing me to do it and I don't want to do it. I want to leave this party, but I came with my friend and I don't have my car there. I have already established with my parents that if I text them an X, they know to call me with an excuse that they have to come pick me up.
Mhm.
They give me an out to get me out of that situation,
Yeah.
which is huge.
Mhm.
I think that X plan is a great thing. Again, you can have these conversations during your family dinners.
Yeah, perfect. And
Um,
that
yeah,
the escape could be, oh, my mom found blah blah blah, and now I'm grounded. I gotta go home now.
yep,
Or you know, I didn't do my chores. Fill in the blank. Kids
yep.
are really creative at their excuses. So let's use that to their benefit on this situation.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And then set an example. So kind of going back to the 5 important adults or
Caring adults, yes.
caring adults, thank you, in your life. They need to set that example of their drinking, and specifically right now.
Mhm.
If you drink, do so in moderation
Mhm.
and explain to your teens why it's okay for adults to drink and not students or children under 21. Describe the rules you follow, such as not drinking and driving, and don't serve alcohol to anyone that's underage.
Right. Thank you.
Encourage healthy friendships. Again, your teen's friends drink, your teen is more likely to drink.
Yeah.
Get to know your teen's friends and their parents,
Yep.
and work with other parents to monitor the kids and keep them safe.
You are a product of who you hang out with, right? You are a product of who
100%.
you surround yourself with. Very
Yeah.
important to
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
And I just kind of added on the bottom of this slide that it's never too soon to talk to your kids about teen drinking or substance use in general. I'm in the middle schools and I have probably half and half that have talked to their parents and some that haven't talked to their parents.
Sure.
But I don't think it's ever too soon to start talking about this and start taking the necessary guidance to support your kid.
Thank you. Good advice. Great advice.
And then let's say your teen under 21 has been drinking and has started to become an issue, and you need more help. The Youth Service Bureau, we've got chemical health specialists that meet with students at school. So we can go pull them from a class or go pull them from a lunch and have lunch with them and talk. And we can assess on if they need to get a Rule 25 chemical assessment that could lead to treatment. Hazelden, awesome place for a lot of resources. And then Gobi. Gobi is also an online kind of treatment, but it's a family way of being able to make healthier choices.
Nikki, are there fees?
Gobi, as of right now, is free.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And Hazelden, if you go through and actually do treatment, they will talk to you about fees. Okay. But you can also go on and get a lot of good resources for free.
Awesome, thank you. And how about your services in the schools?
The great thing about our chemical health specialists in the schools, it is 100% free. We do not bill insurance. We do not take fees. We don't have any of that because we are contracted in the school district.
Awesome. Okay, summer's coming. Now what?
So through the summer, we have other mental health therapists at the Youth Service Bureau that would be able to help in partner with us. because unfortunately we do take the summers off as like teachers do. But the Youth Service Bureau, if you reach out to us, we can definitely get you in contact with someone else that can help you just for that short period of time.
Awesome. That's just always good to have a great resource library.
Absolutely. Yes. And
yay.
That's it.
So Nikki, thank you so much. If I have questions after watching this, do you have recommendations on how I can either get in touch with you, or I appreciate what you said about summer's coming. It's not that far away.
Absolutely. So if you go to ysb.net and under the chemical health specialists, my name is under there. And I believe my email is in there too. Feel free to email me any questions or anything like that. I am always open and free to give resources or feedback or insight to any questions.
Perfect. And I would just say during the summer months, info@ysb.net. And we do have chemical health staff that's on 12 months of the year. Just some of our school-based staff are not. So we would make sure we're providing the care that fits what your family needs are.
Yeah.
Well, Nikki, thank you for this. Thank you for educating all parents. We'll look forward to future conversations. And I just want to say thanks for the great work you do.
Thank you.
It's so affirming as a parent to know that we have this additional care in our schools.
Absolutely. I love it.
Me too. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Mary.